Hello everybody, welcome back. This video today we're going to go over reading files. So to do that we're going to have our setup here. I have a Python file which is called ex19.py. If you're following along on Komodo Edit, well, pretty much any other text editor has a tree like view here on the left hand side. What I did was I created a text file, so just a generic text file in the same directory with all of my exercise files, and here it is right here, and this is just stuff I typed into it. We could keep going and type a whole bunch of stuff, but this is just to show you how to use it and how it works. So to build on, our last video, we had this import statement right here, which is on line 2. And from the system, we're going to import the arguments. And for our arguments, we have script and the file name itself. So basically, when we go into our terminal or bash or PowerShell or whatever, for whatever system you're on, script is counted as 1. So this exercise 19.py is counted as that script, okay? And then the file name right here will be our exercise 19_sample.txt file. Now, excuse me, it doesn't matter what you call it, just for my purposes. I have so many different files everywhere. I have to keep like a decent naming convention going on so I can find out where they are. Okay, so we understand this, line 4, excuse me. And on line 6 we have txt variable that's going to be equal to the open function file name. So obviously what we put in there, right? And I put a little comment here that says opens the file. Number 8, we have a print statement. So it's going to print back to us the file name, and we know that by using the format function. And number 9, excuse me, we're taking this variable, right, that has been returned the file name. After it's opened the file, it gets put into this variable. Well, now we're going to print that variable plus the read class on top of that. This read function, I should say, I'm sorry. This read function. Now, this accepts arguments as well, but for all intents and purposes, we're just going to read the file. Okay? And on file 11, or line number 11, we're going to print, it says type the file name again, and we're going to give it a raw input. This time, we're giving it the file underscore again variable. We're going to pass that through. Now, what file name it's asking for is the file name that the system has already read, or that you run at the time that you run the script. So 14, text again. We're going to open, and as you can see, this right here is a more dynamic way of doing it. Just we're taking text again, we're going to equal that to the file again up here. So once we pass this through, we'll be passing through the exercise 19_sample text. It's going to get stored in the file again, and then we're going to have text again, open that, what we stored in that value, and then we're going to print this text again that has the value, and then we're going to add this read function onto it. So essentially what we're doing from this point, from all these hashtags on down, is just a different way of doing it from up here. So let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. So go ahead and open up your terminal, what have you. We're going to type in Python 19.py, and then our file that we used So for me, it would be exercise 19 sample.txt. And here's what it says. Here's your file. This is stuff I typed into a file. Okay. Now it says type the file name again. This is the other more dynamic way of doing it. So if we type in x19_sample.txt, we get the same output. Okay. So that's just two different ways of showing you how you can read stuff from a file. Now, if we go into this file, we can see that this matches up. These 3 lines here are exactly what was in the file. So we read every single line in that file. Let's say we added another line. Okay, we're going to go ahead and save that. And save that. Now let's just use our shortcuts here. Whoops. And let's run that again. See how we, boom. It's just reading the entire file. Okay. So same thing with this sample. Oh, it's still, there we go. It just reads the other thing. The next line we put in it. So this is kind of cool. We can read files now. So what good does that do me? Some good. Next we're going to move on to the exercise 20. Now for this one, I am going to increase the size, and then I'm going to scroll down a little bit so that you can pause the video and type everything that you need to type. That's a little bit longer and larger than previous exercises that we've done. So give you a second on that. And then right there. Okay. Now, the other thing you need to do to complete this exercise is I just wrote test.txt file. And if you want it to start off first, go ahead and blank out the file, but don't worry about that. Once you start going through this code here, I'll explain to you how we can do that. So we're going to be writing to files. So before we learn how to read them, now we're going to learn how to actually write to them. Okay, so we have the same import statement as the last one. The same two are passing through our arguments. We have some print statements here. First one, we're going to erase the file name. So if you're doing this, just go ahead and create a test file. Okay, don't try to do this on something that's maybe important because it's going to wipe it. And then we give the user a way out. We say, hey, you don't want to do that, hit Control-C. Excuse me, which will obviously end your terminal session. Number 8, if you do want that, then just hit return. And then we have a raw input here with a question mark. So what that's going to do is stop it and say, alright, what do you want to do? We're just taking that, okay, I want to do it, hit return, okay, into the raw input, let's keep going. Now we're going to give a little print statement since we're opening the file. Our target variable is going to be equal to the file name, which we give it. Okay, this right here, this little extra argument here in this function is the write command. So you have the read file, the write file, read and write file, which we'll go over later. And truncating the file, goodbye. And we use this truncate, which is essentially getting rid of everything. Okay. Now we go on down to line 18 for me. Print. Now I'm going to ask you for 3 lines. All right. So we have our 3 raw inputs with 3 variables, and we're asking for 3 lines. then we tell the user, I'm going to print these lines. So how we do that is we take the target all the way up here, which is our file. As you can see, it highlights everything that we use for target. And we're going to write. Excuse me, we're going to use this write. We're going to use this write function. So we're going to write line 1, which the user is putting in. Okay. And then hopefully you know what this does by now. We're just going to give it a line space, so to speak. And then we're going to write line 2, line space, then line 3, and then finally a line space. And at the end of this, it says, and finally we close it, and we use our target that we open, and we close the file. It's important to close your files. You just don't want to leave them open. Okay? So with example 20 and test.txt, let's go ahead and well, let's leave it like that, and I'll show you. I guess let's leave that in there. Okay, so let's run this. Clear it out. And I just called it test.txt. And here we go. We're going to erase it. If you don't want to do that, you're way out. Okay. If you do want to do it, just hit return. Alright, I want to do it. Opening the file. Okay, goodbye. Now I'm going to ask you for 3 lines. Now if you remember, we go back to Komodo Edit. And we open up our test file, it's gone. Okay, we just deleted it out. Alright, so that was quick. Now let's give it 3 more lines. Let's give it that line. And let's give it that line. Okay, I'm going to write these to the file, and we closed it. Alright, now let's go back into our Komodo Edit, and all this is saying is that changes have happened to the file, so I'm just going to display those, and there they are. Right there. Boom. So, we have written that new stuff into it. Now, you can take this and extend it, and you can make these lines as much as you want. You can give these, like longer strings with the triple quotes and things like that, and you can place them into the file. And you can keep going down and just writing to the file itself. And just to show you again, I will I will rerun this, and I'll go ahead and delete that stuff out. Jump back into Komodo Edit, and I'll show you, hey, everything's gone. And I'm going to put alright, and we're going to close it, go back to Komodo Edit, and there it is. Boom. Just simple. Okay, in the next one, I'll be showing you guys how we can copy files, and we'll be importing a new function that's native to Python to help us do that. So stay tuned for the next video.